Welcome to the first episode of this season's Yarn Geek and Friends. I am so excited because I was able to get together with my friend Alexis from Sixel Designs and talk about her new book, Dark and Dramatic Mosaic Crochet. If you guys know anything about me, you know I love mosaic crochet. So this is such a great opportunity to talk to Alexis and find out what has inspired her new book. When I got it, I was like, okay, I gotta make something right away. So the very first thing I made was this awesome can cozy. Anyway, that's a sneak preview. I'm working on a hat. I'm starting something new with this interview series. I'm sending a group of questions to every designer that I interview because I'm wanting to keep these interviews more structured so you all will get maximum amount of knowledge, motivation, inspiration, and enjoyment out of each and every single episode. I will have the outline of the questions down below along with the timestamps. So you can kind of go through and you can watch the whole thing, which I recommend. Alexis and her crochet story are so much fun to listen to. But, you know, if you want to go back and say, ooh, I need to hear more about the pattern testing, or I need to hear more about her design process, or how she started her business, or what have you, timestamps down below so you'll be able to find those easily. Before I start going a little more crazy on everything I've started crocheting out of her book, let's head over to talk with Alexis. Now this is the fun part. This is the fun part. We pretend like, you know, 1,000 people are in front of us. So
that's so much. Oh, it makes me feel so much better.
Yeah. Well, I am so happy and thank you so much for being on here today, Alexis.
I'm like thrilled to be here. I'm so happy that you asked me.
Yeah, at first I was nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, you are the best mosaic crocheter of all time.
No,
and
don't say that. No. No, don't put me on a pedestal like that. No. Okay, I mean, there's so many of them out there, but you know, I guess I'm different. I'll take that, but I'm not the best. Definitely.
Well, that's you know, that's the thing. I've on Instagram, I've been looking at all your pictures for years and they're just so cool. And I got to say, the one that really got me, my favorite one of all time, was the kitty cat, the noir, or the cat noir.
Cat noir, yeah.
Yeah. And I used that in one of the, I made a mosaic blanket for this thing I did for Hobie, and there was a cat strip. But anyway, I'll have to show it to you sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were doing any of my patterns.
Oh, yeah. I did. That's the one, and I'm getting your book in the mail. Yeah, I ordered it from Amazon. So I'm super excited to get it. And I've got a whole bunch of friends who have already ordered it too. So we're like, yeah, we're going to be working on that. Especially with Halloween coming up. You know, you've got some really cool dark things that make great decor this time of season, or this time of year.
I hope so. I know I didn't want to put out like a Halloween book because I really feel like a lot of this stuff can be for year round or every day. But I actually started like crocheting, like recrocheting a lot of the stuff in the book to make it like Halloween colors, or kind of like changing a little bit. So like, I really feel like just about any pattern in the book could be a Halloween pattern, but also like you can crochet it in pink, and guess what? It's like every day now.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because I'm doing coming up in September, I'm going to have like a Barbie theme. And
that's awesome.
I know there are so many patterns that you put in the sparkly pinks.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all about the pink. I love the pink.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got, I don't know if you can see back in the background, I've got some pink stuff going there. And
yeah, I watched one of your videos of the Barbie blanket that you're putting together. It looks really fun. I like that. I especially like the bee that you did. That looks really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there's this really cool, have you ever heard of Stitch.com?
No,
and
I live under a rock. I'm sorry.
It's this, well, and you probably, do you use any programs for for making your designs or even
No, I
graph
don't.
paper?
Yeah, so I do
Oh
graph
my
paper.
gosh.
And then
Wow.
I know I'm like really really old school with that. I do graph paper, and then like to make the patterns actually look printable and pretty. I actually
Mhm.
hired a like software developer to make a program for me so they can just put like I can actually just put my stitches like
Mhm.
in there, but it doesn't really help me design anything. It's just
Yeah.
helping me so I don't have to do it in Photoshop anymore, which is what I was doing before.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, that's how I do it. I don't know. I'm backwards, I guess.
But it's like so labor intensive, but you can see it because, you know,
It's worth
everything
it
is,
though.
yeah, it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. But well, now I've gotten together a bunch of questions.
Yeah,
So I thought we could just start off and, you know, basically getting to know you.
sounds good.
Because I'm sure everybody would love to get to know you, find out what's behind all the mosaic.
Ooh, now I get nervous.
I know. I know.
Woo.
I always feel that way too. It's like, oh no, you don't want to open this book.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Okay, so let's see. I've got my questions here. How did you first get into crochet and what inspired you to start Sixel Design?
Oh, what got me into crochet? That would have to be my family. Everyone and all the women in my family crocheted. So I kind of grew up around it. It was
Mhm.
never, um, it wasn't really so much introduced to me as it was just always around. So
Mhm.
I knew at some point I was going to end up picking it up. I think I started crocheting probably when I was around like 8 years old.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I didn't really start getting into it. I mean, it depends on like different phases in my life. Like I always crochet to de-stress. I
Mhm.
always crochet when there's like a big transition in my life, like, oh, I'm moving, or oh, I just broke up with someone, I need to get over it, or things like that. And so it really didn't take off until COVID hit. And then I was like, oh, now I get to crochet every day, all the time. This is perfect. So I never really intended on turning it into a business. I actually started crocheting to de-stress from a jewelry business that I was trying to start. I was planning on launching it in 2020, and then that never happened. So um, I discovered mosaic crochet on YouTube, probably yeah, like right in the middle of 2020, and like I was just like, "Oh my god, this is what I should be doing." Like this is my favorite thing in the world. This is like,
Mhm.
"All right, goodbye granny squares, goodbye rows. We're just going to do mosaic crochet from now on." So, yeah, that's what happened.
Wow. So you just started getting into the mosaic seriously during COVID?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, wow. That's that's impressive. You've done a lot in
I know a lot of people are like, "Where did you come from? Like, what have you like?" I was like,
yeah.
"I'm here. I'm doing it now." But I really haven't been like in the crochet community or anything. I've just kind of been doing my own thing, and
Right.
yeah, I'm here now.
Well, and wasn't COVID the perfect time for crocheters?
Yeah, no, this was like that was our like our renaissance. It was the greatest.
I know. I
I wish
know.
we could kind of go back into like, all right, we're not allowed to leave the house. Everyone get your hooks out. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "Oh, I'm so depressed because of it." And
Oh, I felt bad for them. I'm like, you gotta crochet. That made it so much easier.
yeah, and then stimulus checks and
Oh yeah.
ordering
Yarn.
more. Okay, we will not hope for another pandemic.
No, I know, it's terrible. Oh,
I started mosaic crocheting during COVID also, and
yeah.
I just learned about it. And at first, I was very intimidated because I thought that looks so intricate and so
Yeah.
hard. Oh my gosh! I just started doing it, and And
you just got to pick it up. Like, just
yeah,
give it a shot. I know it looks, I think that was the allure when I saw it. I was like, oh, this looks like the next level. We got to do this.
yeah,
And it was like surprisingly easier than like, I think I was like, I'm up for a challenge. And then I was like, oh my God, it's easy. I don't know.
yeah. And then all of these ideas start coming through your
Yeah.
brain. So how did you first find out about mosaic crochet?
YouTube, definitely. I just back then I watched YouTube constantly, and YouTube was like,
Mhm.
here, how about this video? And
Yeah,
that's where it started. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's see. We've got another question. Now, I figured I probably knew this one. Can you share the story behind the name Sixel Design?
You didn't send that question to me earlier. Ooh.
Oh, I thought I did.
No, that's a good question though. I'm going for it. All right.
Okay,
You ready for this one?
I am ready.
So every now and then somebody will message me and go, did you know your last name is the same as your first name backwards? I was like, no, really? Of course it is. So Sixel is my first name backwards without the A. And the reason why I made my last name that way is because when I got divorced, I didn't want to go back to my maiden name.
Mhm.
So I made something up and I made it legal. So that is my actual last name. And yeah. And then a lot of people look at it and they're like, you have two X's in your name? How did you pull that off? I was like, I just, make a name change. Just do it.
That is really cool. I didn't even know you could do that. You can make
Yeah,
up.
sure.
Oh,
You could absolutely change your name. Why not? I wanted to like feel empowered and not feel like I had to, it was already sad enough to not have a successful first marriage. So I'm like, you know
yeah,
what? I'm going to make my own identity and, feel good about it. So that's what
yeah.
I did.
Okay. Next, what is your favorite yarn to work with and why?
So it really depends on what project I'm doing. I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't use acrylic at all. I've been burned by acrylic so many times that I'm just like, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. I'd spend, months working on something and then wash it once and then it just disintegrates. I'm like, no. So I just kind of like don't take my chances anymore with acrylic. I use wool. I usually use merino wool just because it's
Mhm,
softer. Superwash also, so it's a
mhm.
little more, I don't know, durable. And because I do a lot of pillows that get like rubbed on, really want it to be like a high quality thing that'll last a lot longer, especially because I have pillows all over my house and I have a cat that sits on everything. And so for things like that, yeah, I do 100% wool. I've been kind of trying to find like different blends that might be a little bit cheaper that maybe will hold up better than 100% acrylic for when I do another blanket design. Hint, hint, I will be working on another one too.
Oh, exciting.
It's been years since I've done a blanket pattern, but it's time. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm still kind of like playing around with different yarn and I do use a lot of cotton too. Cotton for basically everything else. I love the stitch definition of cotton.
Mhm, mhm.
And you don't have the fuzzies on there. And especially with mosaic crochet, you really want like every design to be like crisp and clear. So yeah, that's what I have back here is it's all cotton and wool. I don't have anything else right now.
Yeah, yeah, and I've got to say I've I've crocheted designs with wool, cotton, acrylic blends, and I have to say my favorite to use is merino wool
Yeah.
superwash, and then it turns out prettier. How does the washing go? Like when you
Yeah,
wash.
it kind of it depends on unfortunately like depends on the brand. That's what
Mhm,
I've found. I did a video a couple of maybe wow, has it been 2 years ago already? where I swatched like had to been like 30 different types of yarn, and I poured tea on them and threw them in the wash, and like, you know, I had to like carefully label all of them because I was like, this is going to be a mess when I take it out. But I found that yeah, quality varies. Even if you're using something that's like, okay, this is 100% cotton and this is 100% cotton, why did this one fall apart and this one perfectly fine? Sometimes it's just the brand. And I know a lot of people were angry at me for doing that video because I didn't say what brands I was using, and so I had to make a follow-up video saying what brands they were. But yeah, it's tough. You kind of, and you can't always get the same yarn everywhere across the US or across the world. So it really depends on what you have. And I know nobody likes doing swatches, but that kind of is the best way to really know if the yarn's going to stand the test of time. Unfortunately, that's the hard part.
With the yarns, I don't know if you want to say any brands that you like that are better than others. I definitely have some that I know work, but I would be glad and so happy to hear any others.
Yeah, I have some strong opinions on
we we love strong opinions here.
yeah, I think because I get so emotional about like the yarn I use and the colors that I pick, like if I fall in love with a color online and I get it home and like the quality is a mess, I'll be mad at it and I don't even want to, like, not interested anymore. You know?
Right. Oh,
also, like I see what other people are using and I almost get a little jealous, like, why do you like it so much? It doesn't work for me. Like, I don't know.
yeah.
I try. I've really tried. And I feel like because I don't work with yarn brands, like I don't get yarn support. I used to many years ago, but that didn't work out well for me because I felt stuck using yarn that maybe wasn't so good just because I felt bad that they sent it to me for free. And that's not
Yeah.
always a good feeling. So, and I also don't want to recommend something to people and they're going to be like, all right, I bought exactly what you have and I don't like it. It's like, I don't want to have that responsibility.
Well, and you know, it's such a personal thing too.
Yeah.
Because it's like individual to every person. That's what I found is, but don't even get me started on the hooks. How about you and hooks? Do you feel the same way? It's like there are certain hooks that feel super good
Hmm.
with certain yarns, and some that hook feels like trash with the other yarns.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it just such a highly personalized thing. It's almost like we have
It's like an
relation.
extension of your hand. It has
Yeah,
to feel right, you know?
yeah, for sure.
I
Without a
use
doubt.
one hook for everything. And if the yarn doesn't go good with the hook, I will get different yarn. That's how like dedicated to my hook I am.
Oh my god! You mean like
Yeah.
one specific kind, or just
No,
one particular?
literally one hook.
Does your hook have a name?
No. Oh my God. I really should come up with a name. Wow. No.
You'll have to
It's
have a
so
Chris
funny though,
name.
like, because I don't even know where I got it from. Maybe it was my grandma's or probably one of my mom's, but it used to be gold. It's silver now. It is
Uh-huh.
so worn down, but it's an extension of my hand. And I do use other hooks when I'm using like a thinner yarn and I have to go down. If you forced me to, I will. But yeah, I really try and just stick to that one. It makes crocheting so much easier and quicker.
Mhm.
Especially because I notice with some of the hooks I have, if they are slightly like not like fractions of a millimeter off, it just changes everything. It's
Yeah,
crazy how that works.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
completely, and every crocheter who's been crocheting for years knows exactly what you're talking about. It's a feel. So
Yeah.
what size is that hook? I mean, I'll probably know when I read your book, but
So I was actually thinking of getting a tattoo that like on a tree, you'll see like a heart carved into a tree with like initials.
oh
I want to get
yeah.
worsted 5 millimeter. That would be right here.
That's
Worst to
yours.
me, 5mm hook. That's it.
That would be perfect.
Right?
Okay, so next we're going to the creative process.
Okay.
How do you come up with your unique mosaic crochet patterns?
I'd say I really try to make things that I want to have around my house or things that I would want to wear.
Mhm.
So I follow a lot of Instagram accounts that they're all home decor accounts, and they're all about maximalism and like having a million plants or having
Oh,
crazy wallpaper or having a collection of like 1,000 antiques. Like I love following accounts like that. They are
mhm.
filled with inspiration, and I just that's my happy place, is looking at other people's the way they live, and I get really inspired by things like that. Even like different color schemes and different moods and lighting, and you're like, oh, how do I make that happen in crochet? So yeah, that's a lot of it. I also draw a lot of inspiration from my childhood.
Mhm.
um, the things that I wish maybe I had when I was a teenager, like all of the, the skull things, and like I think, yeah, some stuff that I wish I would have had, I'm like making now, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of connecting to that too, which is good.
Mhm.
A little
Yeah.
little bit of nostalgia, and yeah, having that I love that we're in an age now where, being into skulls and like dark things is not like you're not a freak anymore. It's a lot more accepted, which makes me happy because I struggled when I was younger with the things that I was into. So it's so great to see that there's a whole community of people like me that are into these
Mhm.
things.
Okay, what is the most challenging project you've ever worked on?
The book.
Oh,
Oh, should we transition into talking about the book, or
yes. Yes. Let's
that
talk about.
that was, yeah, by far the what made it such a ambitious and crazy project was especially working with a publisher. You need to present to them the table of contents before you've made anything. So it's almost like making a promise, like, I'm going to make these things, but like, I wasn't even sure if I could pull it off. Um, but I don't know. I did it. It was, that was such a crazy process and so scary to tell a
Oh,
publisher, yeah, I got 15 patterns for you in my head. I'll get back to you in a few months. Yeah, it was
wow.
wild.
Wow. So how long did the process take from the very beginning idea until publishing?
Yeah, so they contacted me, I believe it was April of last year. So, yeah, I think April 2022. And so I started putting together like the table of contents within like the first month of working with them. And then um it was such a crazy time of year though, because I was getting married, I was moving, and the deadline to have all the patterns to them was like the week before Christmas. So I had all my pattern testers racing to get these tests done before like the holidays. It was wild. I don't know how we all did it, but we did.
Pattern testing for you, I think, would be super fun.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. And then I think they get a little overwhelmed. I mean, I have some superstar testers working
Right.
for me. Oh, they are the best. But then some other people are like, I would do so good. And I like give them a shot. And then they're like, oh, I can't get this done in time. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel bad because I'm like, my deadlines are like this sometimes. And yeah, I know. I wish I could space things out and give people more time, but sometimes it just doesn't. Like I've moved like 4 times in the last 3 years. I'm so tired.
Wow.
So I've had to arrange my like, pattern designing schedule around like my moves, and it's been awful, but we're done now. So
That's good.
maybe I can give people a little more time to work on things.
That can be hectic. I know that, when you start doing crochet for a living and you've got these projects and you're making videos and all of these things, people think, oh, well, you work from home, so you probably got a pretty relaxed schedule.
Oh, really?
No, I wish.
Oh, it's so not like that. Oh, it's
No.
not like when you're working from home that all of a sudden, oh, I don't have to do dishes. Oh, I don't have to pick up my kid from school. Oh,
Uh-huh.
I don't have to, deal with paying like or dealing with companies on the phone with this and that and picking up my medication and like none of
Yeah.
that turns off. It's not like I'm
Right.
lounging around in bed crocheting all day. Oh, I wish.
Yeah. Right. And oh, a video? I mean, I gotta get ready for it. I gotta put on
Yeah.
at least some makeup so I
Yeah.
don't look like I crawled out of a hole.
I know. So much preparation for things like that. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody has any idea of like just getting this background to look like this was really tough this morning.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
lighting is like it's pouring outside today. Like the lighting's bad. So I have a fake light over here.
That's okay. Fake light works. It looks like you have a window over there. So
Right?
it works. But yeah, I've pattern test. I've done a lot of pattern testing. So I know what you're talking about with the pattern testers. And that I think, I've never been a designer where I put my designs out to be pattern tested and have to have the deadlines and that. So I can see that would be you've got to find your good ones and keep
Yeah.
them.
Another like big thing that I try to find in a tester is someone who isn't afraid to tell me when something doesn't make sense, or if they maybe aren't grasping a certain, stitch that I'm using. I think I personally appreciate when somebody will come to me and say like, I love your patterns, but like maybe reword this way or whatever. I don't like when people are testing for me and they feel like they have to like walk on eggshells around me, like I'm going to yell at them for asking questions. And I need like as much feedback as possible, because I always want to make sure what I'm putting out there makes sense to even people that are beginners, like absolute beginners. And I also like to go back to my old patterns and rewrite them based on feedback that I've gotten from testers. So I'm trying to work on that too. It's a lot of work, but I really stand behind that I feel like patterns should be easy to follow. I don't want anyone to pick it up and go, oh, this is just too much for me.
Right.
So
You don't want them to be intimidated. And that was another question I had
it's
when
no
you're
fun when you're getting a pattern, you don't know how to do it. Like
no,
what's the point, you know?
right, right. And you can make it as easy to understand as possible. And that's like when you were looking for pattern testers, do you like try to get a gamut, like get some beginners, some medium, some experts, so that they look at it? Because I've been crocheting for over 40 years, so
Okay.
I'll look at it completely differently than
Yeah.
somebody who just started a couple of years ago or even just yesterday.
Yeah. I definitely try and find a range of different types of crocheters. The one thing I try to keep pretty standard though is it's better if they've done my patterns before, because if you're jumping
Mhm.
in as a total beginner, never doing it before, and you have to like learn the stitches from scratch, then it's going to be like months before we get to the point where it's like, okay, the stitches, just make sure my chart makes sense and that I'm not missing anything and that the instructions are all
Mhm.
together. So yeah, if you want to be a tester for me, you got to learn my patterns first, and then yes, come join me.
When I was looking at your designs, I absolutely love them. And the thing that I love most about your designs is I had crocheted, you know, the basic with that has the just single crochet, double
Yep.
crochet. And then when I started crocheting some of your things, I was like, oh, there are different like crochet stitches and techniques that you can use.
Yeah,
And
I kind of threw a wrench into it. Like,
oh my
now that
God.
you know that, try this.
Yeah, which I absolutely love because like the kitty cat, there's no way you could have made it, you know, its little tail curve and things like that without doing the decrease and the, you know,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So,
All of that was trial and error, like just playing around with stitches. And I'd have an idea in my head and I would be just so determined to like figure out there's got to be a way I can make this curved. There's got to be a way I can make this,
mhm,
slanted or spiky or whatever. And, just keeping at it and practicing and just playing around with like everything that was, I knew those stitches were in there somewhere. I just needed to pull
mhm.
them out and make it happen. And that's how you make all these weird shapes. It's, sometimes you just kind of have to like throw out the rules and go, okay, let's try this instead.
Wow. So you made up your own rules.
I
I
did.
love that.
I tried. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. But now your book is like, say if there's somebody out there that is watching this and has ideas in their head, like you said, and you know, just wants to make a book, you know,
Oh,
what,
ooh, good luck.
what would you recommend?
Oh, I would have no idea. As I mentioned earlier, the publisher reached out to me, so I kind of like jumped the line and didn't have to come up with like a proposal and approach different companies. They asked me if I wanted to write a book. I was like, "Yep, I'll do it." Because I've always wanted to,
Yeah.
but I also didn't know if I was ready to put myself out there. I also kind of felt like maybe I wasn't good enough or not in the community long enough. Like I didn't, I'm relatively unknown in the crochet world, so I kind of felt a little nervous about being like a nobody, just being like, and look what you can do with these stitches. And it was a little awkward, but I pushed through it. And I guess the publisher thought I had something good going. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're starting out and you want to get your stuff out there, just go for it. I never had a plan. This was not something I was ever planning on doing with my life. I didn't have much going for me. Things were kind of dark before the crochet world took over. But yeah, do what really makes you happy. And yeah, if you can write a book about it, then definitely do it. It was quite a process though. I'm not going to lie. Oh, wow. There were times where I didn't know if I was going to get through it.
I can't.
Or I'd be writing patterns and it'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I have to at some point go to sleep because I have to get up for my son in the morning and he's got to get to school by 7. I'm like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I don't know how I got it. I got through it somehow, like, especially because there were other people relying on me to make this happen, and I didn't want to let them down. That was a really good motivator to get it done too, is knowing that like I have a publisher back here staring at me, making sure you better meet those deadlines. They were really good to work with, but it was scary.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. And you know, you were saying that you kind of put the outline out there and had, you know, the things. Do you think that having that outline just right there helped or hindered?
It
Do you
did
think?
help because it did give me a some motivation to give it a go and to try. Especially because there were some patterns in there that I was like, I've never done this before. This is going to be quite scary.
And
But
did
thankfully the testers were like, no, it works. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. It definitely helped having a list, but even like I said, coming up with that list in the first place was so scary. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a star, and I've been trying to make a star, like a 5-pointed star, like
Mhm.
since 2020, and I just couldn't do it. And I kept like, putting it aside. I'm like, maybe I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to do it yet, and yeah, it took me about a month to get that star going. It was such a headache, but finally it worked. And I think that part of the key to that pattern was you have to crochet it upside down. It's like the
Mhm.
weirdest thing. It doesn't lay right if you crochet it like with a point at the top. The stitches don't lay right because of the way you're dropping down the DCs. For some
Mhm.
reason, you got to work it upside down. It's weird, right?
Yeah. And the start, I think if I'm remembering right, you use it for the shawl.
Yeah.
And you said that was the first time that you've done like a triangular type kind of
Yeah.
mosaic shawl. So you had two new things
Yeah.
on
There was a
there.
lot of new things going on, especially with that one. That one was definitely ambitious. Especially because everything else that I've done mosaic crochet before that was square, because you have the border stitches on
Right.
the edges and you work everything in a row. Even
Mhm.
when you're working it around, it's still even all the way. And this was the first time I was like, if we can decrease the stitches in the pattern itself, why not decrease the edges to make it do this?
Mhm.
So pretty simple, but that was new to me. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
new to a lot of people. I mean, you're introducing a lot of techniques and things that people don't normally see.
I just want to inspire people to
Yeah.
just go out there and do some crazy stuff. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a go-to crochet stitch that you absolutely love?
Um, no, because I'm stuck in my ways now. I because of the whole mosaic crochet thing being like all single crochet and double crochet, and then I added like decreases in there to like kind of switch things up. Those are basically the only
Yeah.
stitches that I use are like the very, very basic stitches.
Mhm.
I really would love to, and maybe I'll treat myself to a crochet book of stitches to kind of even branch out a little bit more, to maybe combine some more of like the fancier stitches with regular mosaic crochet. I know that's not like groundbreaking, but I've been just stuck with like basic stitches. And I know like my designs look advanced, but they're not.
Mhm.
I don't know many stitches. I'll be honest, like I'm not even 100% sure what a half double crochet is. Like
Mhm.
I'm very, very basic. Which is also why I think it's funny that I wrote an entire book about mosaic crochet and I only really know like 3 stitches.
Yeah,
But that's
but
all you
that's
really need to know.
oh my gosh, when you get armed with an arsenal of like all these crazy stitches that you could use with mosaic crochet,
Oh, I know, right? Buckle up.
buckle up. I'm waiting for the next book already.
Oh, that would be so fun though. Oh,
Oh, I know. I know. And
it
then
would be
and then
like all like three-dimensional and textured and oh geez.
oh my gosh. Yeah, and I everybody watching and I can say, "Oh yes, we knew her when she only knew a couple of stitches."
I know. I know. Well, before this, I was only doing like granny squares and stuff. This is,
Yeah.
this like beginner crochet stuff. So yeah, even though the designs look crazy and complicated, it's like deceptively easy.
Next topic is the goth and alternative angle, if that's what you call it. The
Yeah.
darker colors. How does the goth and alternative culture influence your crochet designs?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm from the 90s. I'm
Mhm.
originally like I was a teenage goth. I don't know. I'm not even, and it's funny because when we were trying to figure out like a title for the book, I wasn't even really sure what to call it because like it's always been goth to me.
Mhm.
But I didn't know if like the newer generation called it something else at this point. Like, because I mean, I'm old now. I don't know what's in.
Isn't it weird?
So I was like, I'm really not sure what to call it. I know there's a lot of people like in the UK that they consider it like alternative, which to me was more like the grunge era alternative, but it's taken on other meanings too. So I don't know. I'm just going by what I know, what I was into when I was younger, and that's
Right.
that's just me. I've always been like this.
Yeah.
I never grew out of it. It's not a phase.
Right. It's hard to put a label on something, especially with different generations, because
Yeah,
it'll be completely different to them. And it's
I
like,
know.
you can't label it, because if you label it something that the other person doesn't know, it's like, well, that's not me. And they might,
Yeah, exactly. And it was a little, um, I think the publisher was a little worried about calling it like goth mosaic crochet, because then it just like maybe it'll like make people feel like they wouldn't connect to it because of whatever reason. But I don't know.
but
It is what it is.
the cool thing is, like, with picture platforms like Instagram and everything, the label really doesn't matter, because you see
Yeah,
what you're making. It's like, oh yeah, I want to make that. I mean, I don't care. I don't
I
care
know.
what it's called. God, yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's like when I was younger, I mean, nobody wanted labels. I didn't want labels, but you just, you take it, you wear it, whatever. But I
Yeah,
know nobody wants labels anymore. We're over that, right? I don't know.
yeah. I don't know what label I would have been. I'm Gen X, so
Yeah, I'm right like at the border of Gen X and a
yeah,
millennial.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, meh. I guess that's my label.
It's all good. I mean, you don't need one. That's why
No.
it's so tough to it also like hating that feeling of like, am I goth enough to call my stuff goth? Like, I don't know. Whatever. You know what? We're
Yeah,
all different. We all lived different lives. We all experience things differently. We all present ourselves to the world in a different way.
right.
And whatever. It is
Right.
what it is.
Yeah,
I hate the pressure of, having to be in a certain kind of box. So
yeah.
who
Yeah,
cares,
because
right?
next week I might not feel like I want to be in that box, right? I might be in a different box.
No, it's like, how dare you be goth and have pink and
Yeah,
orange and neon yellow? Like, well,
yeah.
those are my favorite
That's
things.
that's what I love. I love all the dark and then all the bright pops of
You
neon.
need the contrast. That's what's
Love
so
it.
important about mosaic crochet is you have to have like contrast. Which is why I'm like obsessed with everything being like black and white, because
Yeah.
there's no like higher contrast than black and white. But then when you like add neon colors into it, it's
Mhm.
like a whole other level. Ah, I love it.
Oh, like, your whole house has inspired me so much. After I watched your video, I was like, okay, what can I need to paint this wall black. I need to paint this wall. I'm going to do my house just like hers.
I would love to see that. I know my house like isn't for most people, but I'm thrilled to inspire anyone. Um, Before we bought this house, I was living in, apartments where you
Mhm.
can't paint the walls, you can't touch anything. You have to like
Right,
keep it
right.
exactly how it was. And I was even like too afraid to like hang anything on the walls. So I'm like living in a tiny apartment that's white with
Mhm.
white walls, and it was just like it's like the most depressing thing in the world. And it's so
Yeah,
funny because when I was younger, I feel like the whole design world was all about like, oh, you need everything to be light and bright and airy, and I'm like, to me that's depressing. Like there's no like there's no personality, there's
yeah.
no like inspiration. It's just kind of it's like sterile. And so
And
now that I'm not in an apartment, I'm going to paint the entire rainbow in this house because
keep
now I
doing
can.
keep doing it. Keep making videos about it. Keep posting about pictures and
Yeah.
inspire us all. I need some ideas.
Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled because I have so much bottled up in here. You have
Mhm.
no idea.
20 years from now, when you have 7 or 8 or 12 books.
Woo!
Over. I'll go back to this part in the video where you said you have it all bottled up. And it'll be a, here
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, that'd be funny.
What's the reaction you usually get when people see your modern goth crochet patterns?
Like people on the street.
Well, yeah, anybody, like your family. I mean, anybody who's watching this video right now flat out loves them. But just, yeah, family, friends.
Yeah, it's funny. Like my husband's like my biggest cheerleader. He likes to try and like make a conversation go in the direction where he can be like, look at what my wife does, and like, shows people like that's crochet. Oh, he's so funny. Oh, I love him. But yeah, he loves to like surprise people, because I think when he starts telling people like that, yeah, oh, my wife crochets, they're like, that's nice.
Okay, right.
Like, the big skull blanket on the wall, and he's like, you know, they're like, oh, that's crochet? Like, yeah. So these are the things that you can do. It's gone from very, you know, basic and simple to just as crazy as you want it to be, you know?
Yeah, and I love it that we're not just stuck to grandma's crochet, like the
I
granny
know.
and the zigzag blankets and all that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
it
It's really, I
had
feel like
like
it's really,
that reputation for a while, and I know like there's been almost like a revolt against the people that call crochet like just for grandmas, and I'm like,
mhm.
Yeah, but there are some cool grandmas that crochet cool things now. I think it's
Mhm.
just it's evolved in general. I don't think there's any kind of age group anymore,
Yeah.
especially because my demographic is younger than me. So that's the coolest thing in the world. It is definitely not just for grandmas
No.
anymore. And I don't think it's been for a long time.
Yeah.
I think now that it's gotten a lot more popular, there's the stigma of like, oh, you crochet, that's so like old.
Mhm.
Like it's not really like that anymore. But I still like shocking people by showing them what I make. I
Yeah.
don't think they have any idea, but yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I feel like that part is still kind of new, like the new things that are coming out in crochet where it's like you can shock people and
Yeah.
with these
I
all these
love the shocking crochet. It's so
yeah.
good. Even like, oh my God, I've seen there's been there was like a blanket that came out recently that was just the wildest thing I've ever seen. And I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was like granny squares, but they were all just different patterns and designs, and they were all like connected together in like this weird, I don't know, it's like just the wildest thing. I wish I
Yeah.
could figure out what that was. But so not even just like mosaic crochet, like I've seen
Mhm.
even in the granny square world,
Oh yeah.
it's just so inspiring to see the things that people can do. I love it.
Yeah. And especially with a lot of the new things. Like my sons, I have three girls and four boys. So I have a lot of kids. My oldest daughter's 33. My youngest is 17. This is last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like they all have different ideas of crochet, and the older ones are kind of like, mm. And then the younger ones are like, oh yeah, my girlfriend crochets. And especially during COVID, and this time crochet clubs and things like that started out in the high schools,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of Gen Zs crocheting, and they like to make like the halter tops
Yeah.
and you know all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, I can't make a halter top that I would wear and model, but I will.
I
I want
tried
it.
like once or twice, and I was like, I'm way past the
It's
age of wearing something like this. I was like,
I
that's
made
it. Once and done.
Yeah, I made one modeled one. It's on my Instagram. You can see it. It's like, no,
Oh, I
no.
love seeing what people can make though. They're
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And I mean, wow. Yeah. I've even seen like that they're just so creative with like full like jumpsuits with like bell bottoms and like
Oh,
so cool.
Yeah, my 24-year-old daughter who lives in LA has been on me to make her a pair of granny square pants.
I know, they're so cool. Every time I
Yeah.
see them pop up on Instagram, I'm like, oh, I wish I could pull off something like that. I can't.
Oh, yeah, you will be someday. Yeah, I like screenshot it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make that later.
Yeah, it's so fun.
We've got some creative stuff out of the way. Now the business side. So when did you decide during your crocheting process that you were going to turn your crochet into a business?
I wasn't even really sure if I was going to. I was just kind of posting photos on Instagram. My whole life has revolved around Instagram now. It's ridiculous, but that's kind of where it started. I was just posting pictures on Instagram of the stuff that I was crocheting, and like for the first time ever, I was getting like hundreds of likes, and I was like, what is going on? Usually only 3 people see my things. And it just kind of like took off very rapidly. And I was like, what? This is crazy. And then people started asking like, what pattern are you using? I was like, I just made this thing up myself. They're like, you need to put your patterns out there. I was like, I've never written a pattern in my life. Yeah, it started out of nowhere. It was just kind of like people were asking me to do it. And that's when I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. That was really scary back then, putting out my very first pattern after like just not ever doing something like that before. And I kind of approached it more from a beginner's perspective, because now you know that I'm like actually really a beginner and I'm not an expert crocheter. That's how I've written my pattern since the very beginning. I don't like using a lot of abbreviations because I feel like when you're learning something new, it should be a little more obtainable. And I feel like if you have to constantly check to see, okay, what does this stand for? And how do I do this? Now I got to go on YouTube and figure out how to do this stitch and all that. I just try to write it as if you've never done it before in your life. So that's how I started doing those patterns, was just writing it like, I don't know what I'm doing, because I really didn't know what I was doing.
Right. Which is perfect. And, you know, I think the thing that's really cool about social media and everything is that we get to hear you say that. And so it makes you and your designs and everything like that so much more relatable and, you know, and approachable and doable and fun, which really is what it's all about. It's supposed to bring us joy.
That's the whole point of it. I never want to come across as a designer who puts things out there that nobody can do, that they're like almost like a fantasy. Like, yeah, I'd love to figure it out one day, but in the meantime, I'll just look at it. I want people to be able to do it. And that's why I do encourage people to actually reach out to me and contact me if they get stuck with patterns, because it's just like, I want people to have fun with them. I want people to get inspired and to just go crazy with crocheting, because that's like the best part. So yeah.
And you know, the thing that's cool about the patterns is that, yeah, you follow the pattern, but you can be creative with your own colors. And that's fun.
And also with whatever you're making. That was another thing that was a little like I wasn't really sure how to handle when I was first starting to write patterns, was how do I like present this? Because I have a chart and it's just for the design, but what do people do with it? Right. So that's why I kind of started doing the whole pillow thing. And now I have like 50 or 60 pillows.
I love your pillow shelf. I want a pillow shelf now. I want to make a bunch of pillows and make a pillow shelf.
They're everywhere. I finally, the other day, my husband finished building the rest of the shelf. So now it's an L around the perimeter. And you can see I have started putting pillows on that one too. So 3 of the walls have pillows on the top.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, when I was first designing, I'm like, I have to sell like a thing for someone to make. I couldn't just, I don't know. I didn't think it would be very fun to just put out, here's a chart, figure it out.
Right.
So I started doing the pillows, And then, you know, then like the placemats and wall hangings. And then I got a little gutsy and started doing bags, and then like, you know, like can cozies, and now I'm like, what else can I do? Just like so many other things that I want to try to mix with mosaic crochet. So that's what I think is what I love so much, is seeing somebody take a chart from one of my patterns and making like a sweater out of it. We're making like, you know, a bag, or just like getting creative with, okay, I have this pattern, now I'm going to turn it into something different. I love seeing that. And then the blankets that people come up with, oh, they're mind blow. I don't have the time or patience to make blankets, and these people are so, oh my God, they're so inspiring. Like I just love seeing what people make.
Oh,
that's the best part of being a designer, is seeing your designs in someone else's hands. Like they can just take it and run with it. And I love that. So it's not even just colors, just they can make whatever they want. It's great. No, I love seeing like what people what they come up with, like especially when I've seen there's a lot of like Halloween blankets out there. Well, there'll be like 5 or 6 or 7 different patterns of mine that they've like just put together, and I'm like, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, and you're
I
like,
wish I had time.
Yeah.
And so many people are like, when are you going to come out with another blanket pattern? I'm like, just take any of my patterns and make a blanket out of it, because I can't. I don't have the time. I started a wild leopard velvet blanket probably 2.5 years ago. And it's like the longest whip that I've had in my possession, that every time I take it out, I'll do 1 row and I'm like, all right, that's enough. I don't know. Like, I don't have the motivation to like sit and do a whole blanket, like especially the same pattern over and over. I give those people so much credit. Oh,
yeah. Do you have any tips for any aspiring crochet entrepreneurs?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, I do remember what I was going to say about that earlier. Because I didn't really have much of a plan of attack when I started my own business. I feel like the best advice I could give to someone is just do what makes you happy and stick with it, and just practice. Like that's really, I see some businesses trying to start up, and they're all about making sure their logo is perfect, making sure their website's perfect. And really, the grand scheme of things, those things aren't important. People want to, you know, they want to see what you have to offer, not like the facade of greatness, you know. I think if we could all kind of like roll back a little bit and just kind of be a little more honest about like, you know, this is what I make, this is who I am. Like, yeah, so if you have a great logo, awesome, but like that shouldn't be the driving force behind like launching a business. Like my logo is repurposed from my jewelry business. I didn't even like, my logo doesn't even have anything to do with yarn or hooks or anything. It's just a name. So, you know, as far as like getting a business started, I think just really the most important part is be true to yourself, put your true self out there. Don't worry about what other people are doing. You know, like when I was just starting out doing videos, I still don't put music in my videos, and my editing is atrocious. The most important part was just to like get the information out there and teach people how to crochet. And, you know, that's really the bones of it. I didn't have anything really flashy to make myself look better. I just kind of went with it. And that's the only advice really I can give, is just to do what you're really good at and just focus on that.
That is great advice. I think that's some of the best. You know, I listen to a lot of people, especially making videos and all that kind of stuff. The best advice I ever got from that was just press record.
Oh,
Okay.
I wish it was that easy. When I was first starting out, I was an absolute wreck with recording videos. It was like my nightmare. Oh, they took months for me to like become comfortable enough to where I wasn't swearing every other word and crying. Like it was
Oh
really tough for me.
no. Oh no.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I've calmed down considerably since like the first few videos, but every now and then I'll get a comment like, "I could see your hands shaking in the video." I'm like, "Thanks for pointing that out."
yeah, well,
Oh, it's not easy. It is not easy. I wish I could just press record and record whatever, but no. Oh, it's so
yeah,
stressful.
it, I agree, but I gotta say, your videos look great. Your
Well,
videos
thanks.
are
I don't think
absolutely
they're
great.
great, but thank you.
Well, you know, a lot of it, a huge part of it is knowing what you're doing as far as your topic, which you've got, and the lighting. You got awesome lighting, and you come across very genuine on
I
camera.
do my best. I
Yeah.
do my best. It's still scary, but I do my best. I just
Well,
want to be able to show people how to do, mosaic
yeah,
crochet. And yeah, it doesn't look to me, it looks very amateur, but I'm happy if other people think from the outside that it looks okay.
yeah.
That's good.
No, keep doing what you're doing because it looks great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now I think we've already talked a whole bunch about your new book, but let's see if there's anything else. So we've gone over, tell us about your new book, what can readers expect, and mosaic
Yeah,
crochet.
so
Oh,
go for it. What?
since I haven't gotten it yet, I'm super excited to get it because, like, I want to see the pictures and I just want to. I love seeing different layouts of pattern books because it's not anymore. It's not just, oh, here's a picture and here's a pattern.
Yeah.
There's a certain artistic thing to it.
Yeah, especially because we're all on social media and we get to see what everyone else is doing. There's always like
Mhm.
oh, I got to do it like this now. I guess this is the trendy way to take photos of things. Like I remember when taking photos like directly from above, and it would be all everything would be all laid out on. I remember when that was new. I was
Yeah.
like, that's so cool. I want to do that. And now, like, I do that like every other day. Is I take a photo from above of like what I'm crocheting, and I have a candle lit and like a plant in the
Mhm.
background, and
Cup
we
of
all just kind of
coffee.
have to like one up ourselves just to stay pretty on the internet, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah. I had no idea what I was doing when I was taking the photos of the book for all the patterns and stuff. It was kind of difficult. I'm not a photographer. I
Mhm.
actually hate photography. The last job I had, actual job before I started crocheting at full time, I worked in an office and I was administrative assistant, and they had me take photos of all of their products for their website. And I'm like, why is this my job now? Why am I a photographer now? Like I felt like I was terrible at it, and I'd have to spend hours in Photoshop trying to make things look half decent.
Oh
But I
my
was
God.
like, now, like, that's part of my background is like, oh, I'm a photographer now. So I ended up doing all of the photography for my book because I feel like I'm very particular with the way things like are laid
Mhm.
out and like balance and color and lighting. I feel like I am very like I would have a very hard time with someone else trying to do it because I just am a control freak when it comes to my own stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So even though I really strongly disliked doing the photography for the book, I am happy that I did it myself.
Well, yeah, because only you know the feel that you want and the look
Yeah.
and all that. But do
Plus, it would
you
be
know?
weird to have someone over my shoulder, like, with a camera while I'm, like, doing stitches, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, do you have like do you use a tutorial arm? Do you have what's your camera? All that kind of stuff.
Let's see. I have a thing called Glide Gear. I'm looking at it right now. It's basically just it's like a metal thing that sits on a table, and you can hook up the camera to that. And then Again, I repurposed all the stuff that I had bought for my jewelry business that never happened. So I have a lot of like those big lights that go over that is usually for like photography in like a studio. That's probably why the lighting looks so good in my videos. It's because like I'm using like professional lighting that wasn't really meant for like really up close stuff. But I'm like I said, I'm repurposing whatever I had because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing my best.
You know, we throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
I know, like that's really what it is. Using what I have. It's also just looking to see what everyone else is using. And I know a lot of people don't show. I wonder if I can move my camera and you can actually see my setup because I
would love to see your setup.
Let's see. I have one of the lights on right now because I don't have light in here because it's very cloudy outside and rainy. So that's why I have that fake light on. But yeah.
I love that.
So that is my setup. It's pretty basic. But it works. So, and I keep buying cameras because in the beginning, I was just like, I don't know. I have like a Canon camera from like when I was like first learning photography, and it didn't have a video function on it. So I was like, well, there goes that camera. And it was really expensive, but I was like, all right, now I got to find a regular video camera. And I was asking around at like other photographers that I knew for like what they used. And I bought 2 different ones that they recommended and I hated them. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to go back to Canon and see if I could figure it out. And I found a pretty decent one. So yeah, that's what I'm using now. A regular Canon camera with video function on it. So yeah, well, I've had so much trouble with cameras.
See,
why doesn't this work for me?
I'm really, really interested in that because I have never gotten a camera. I literally just use my phone. But I got last year when the iPhone 14 Pro Max came out, I'm all over that because it has the best camera for a phone. But it videos in 4K and you know, I don't do all the manual stuff anyway. I don't know about that. That's I need to watch videos of people doing camera stuff so I can make an educated. But I
watch videos like that, and for some reason, it just goes in one ear and out the other. Like I can't absorb any of the manual functions of a camera. I just put everything on automatic because I'm just bad at photography. I try and do my best, but it's frustrating. I'm way better at crocheting than I am figuring out a camera.
Exactly. Like I used to buy literally the disposable cameras that you could get back in the 90s that were the cardboard. And you go click and then get it developed. But now it's exactly. But now I point my camera at it. As long as the lighting's good, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't know. I don't know much about any of that.
Yeah, it's all a learning process. Okay, so what was the most rewarding part about writing your book?
Finishing. Being done. Of course, that's the most rewarding part. The whole process was quite intense. But yeah, the relief of being like, well, it's in their hands now. That was the rewarding part of, okay, now the editor's going to go through it and check my terrible spelling and make sure I didn't miss anything. And that was, the best part was just being like, you know, thank God I have a team of people to like look and make sure I didn't mess up terribly. So
that would be, I mean, scary, but also wonderful to have.
Yeah, I don't know how I give so much credit to people who self-publish. I could not imagine trying to tackle this project alone. I don't know how they do it, but they are magicians. Oh.
Yeah, I can't imagine that either. I mean, somewhere in the book there would be an open jar of peanut butter, and you know, I didn't see that.
Yeah, right. It's just I don't know how they do it, but some very talented people out there. I don't know. I couldn't do it. No way.
Do you have plans for any sequels or upcoming books?
Um, not that I've talked to anyone else about other than like my mom and my husband, but yeah,
Mhm.
I have another book in my head that I would absolutely love to start working on. Um, I can't even begin to mention anything of it though, because if I say one little thing, it'll give away the whole thing, and I still got to figure out how I'm going to tackle this thing. But I think it'd be cool to have a
Oh,
second book.
awesome. Well, definitely look forward to that. Yeah, it's kind of like you don't want to jinx it by saying
Yeah.
anything about it. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And I feel like my current book has been out for like a week, and I'm already like, all right, where's the next one?
I know. You got to live in the relief and wonderfulness feeling of the finishing the book, and
Yeah,
then
give myself like 3
yeah,
days.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm ready to go. All set. That's plenty of rest. Let's go.
So, tutorials and teaching.
Mhm.
What inspired you to start your YouTube channel?
Um, a 1-star review is what inspired my YouTube channel. I was basically bullied into making videos. So when I first put out, my first few patterns, there was a woman who was just angry about the fact that I did not have videos showing how to do mosaic crochet and how to do the stitches and everything. And I was so stressed out because
Oh
when I was still like really new to like have, because Etsy reviews are everything, and
no.
once people start leaving bad reviews, you might as well shut your shop down.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And of course, this was like a week or two before we were packing up and moving again, and I was like, how am I going to pull this off? I'm like, can you wait like 2 weeks until I move so I can get my setup and start recording a bit? But yeah, it was really like because I made one woman really upset that
Oh my
like
God.
didn't have any videos showing her how to do the stitches.
That's
um yeah.
that's really a great story.
I mean, like, it's seriously, I was bullied into it.
Wow.
I didn't want to, but now here we are.
Yeah.
I feel like my old videos are kind of like cringy too, just because I was so nervous, and I was just not comfortable in front of a camera at all.
But it's crazy because until I asked you if I could interview you, I only knew that you were on Instagram, and I had just fallen in love with all your stuff on Instagram. And then, of course, when I went and I checked out your YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff, and it's amazing what um, you know, people get into one social media and they don't know that their favorite designer may have a whole different, whole different
Yeah.
world, whole different thing they're doing. So I was really excited when I started watching YouTube videos. You do a great job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's tough because like I've been on Instagram for way longer than any of the other platforms,
Mhm.
and now that they've been pushing like reels and things like that, I'm like, oh, I gotta do videos here too. I don't
Yeah.
know if I can. Like, it already takes so much out of me to record a YouTube video and to compose myself and to
Mhm.
get all the information. I'm like, how am I gonna do this on Instagram too? So I literally have one reel on my Instagram page, and that's it. I don't know it. I should probably get into doing more, but I don't know. It's stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Stay relevant, and everyone's doing videos. And then there's like people on TikTok that's all they do is on TikTok. I'm like,
I
nope,
know.
I'm not doing that. I'm sorry.
I know, it's crazy. My daughter's best friend is a TikTok person. She has like
Mm,
2 million people, and she's funny, funny, funny. But I was like, that's a lot. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, because she talks about her job, but each social media, like, you have a different demographic
yeah,
in each one. A different, like, I find my YouTube subscribers are in an older age group, older millennials, and and Gen X boomers,
Okay.
but kind of boomers, then Gen X, but then you go over to Instagram and it seems like mostly millennials. TikTok,
Yeah.
of course, is mostly all Gen Z. So
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
I feel
what?
like it takes a personality to be really like good and engaging and exciting on TikTok, and I don't think I have it, so I'm just not gonna do it.
You have it. It's there.
I don't know. No.
It's funny because I ask my kids a lot what I should do on
Mm.
TikTok. They're like, and this is what they say, Mom, don't.
That's what my son says. He's like, "No, TikTok's terrible. Don't go on there."
Just don't.
And he's 17, so I'm relying on what
All
I'm
right.
going by what he said. If he says it's
Right.
bad, I'm not doing it.
He's the expert.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what's the most common question you get from people that follow you on Instagram or on YouTube?
Um, oh, it's the question that like I almost like don't want to say it out loud because then I'm going to have more people asking it.
Uh,
And that's why don't you make a video showing how to design patterns? And I can't do that because I don't know how to do that. First of all,
right.
like I don't use a program. I think I mentioned that earlier.
Mhm.
That everything I design is by swatching. Like I'll sit for hours and just play around with stitches until something looks good. And then once it looks good, I'll write it down in graph paper, old school.
Wow. See,
and that's how I design. And to do a video like that, there's not much to show.
mhm.
It's really it's it's an art. I don't know. There's not much to teach. There isn't much like skill other than like just practice. You
Yeah.
have to practice. It's like once you get familiar with like what stitches do what, even still there isn't like a step 1, step 2, step 3.
Mhm.
There's none of that. It's just kind of play with stitches until you like it. That's what I've been doing, and then record your work, and that's that. I don't know. But yeah, I get that all the time. Like, please show me how to design patterns. I'm like, I don't even know how to design patterns. I'm winging it.
Yeah, it's kind of like asking Picasso how he painted his pictures.
Yeah, like show me how to draw a face. I'm like, I mean, I could, but you can. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
you have to.
it's kind of difficult. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and I find that like when you're an artist, you don't think of things necessarily in linear terms all the time.
Yeah, it's not. God, I really wish it was because I would be able to pump out patterns way
Oh my
faster than
God.
I do. And I've tried this before. I've tried in the past like to take the stitch program that I have, which is basically just to take what I wrote in my graph paper and make it look pretty. And I've tried to design in there and it'll look fine. And then when I go to stitch it up, it looks, a little off. It's a little like wonky because it's not like when you're looking at squares, especially like for mosaic crochet, it's kind of hard to explain to people that it's not like tapestry crochet where each square is a stitch.
Right.
Because all of the stitches are dropped down to change the
Mhm.
design, when you're looking at it in a grid, it doesn't translate the same way.
Exactly.
So that's why it's not as cut and dry as just like, oh, design something in a grid and stitch it up. Like, oh, I wish it was that easy. I thought it would be that easy when I first started. And like I learned the first day, oh, it doesn't work that way.
No, no.
And that's when I kind of threw out the whole idea of trying to design anything in a grid. And I just start crocheting and see what you can come up with. I mean, sure, you can go off like a photo. Like I do use photos for reference, to just so things don't look absolutely crazy. Like when I did my lobster pattern, I have like I actually went on Amazon and I bought a fake like life-size lobster to hang on my wall so I can kind of copy the design
Right.
of,
Oh,
because I didn't want
wow.
to put out a lobster and have people go, that's not what a lobster looks
Oh.
like. They don't have that many little things on the bottom or too many legs, too little leg.
Mhm.
I was like, this has to be accurate.
That is serious inspiration.
Yeah, I tend to buy a lot of like weird props and stuff just for like photo reference of when I'm designing something, because the one thing I don't want to do is put something out and have people go, "That's not right."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
Community and social media. I know, and we've kind of been talking about that. Like, how important is community engagement to you?
Um, I want to say it doesn't matter at all, but like everything I do is dependent on the people in my little circle, like
Yeah.
telling me what they want, telling me like, I'm like a lot of my tutorials are based on like people asking me questions like, I can't figure this out. Can you please just show me in a video? That's where a lot of the tutorials come from, is, because otherwise I don't know what I'm recording, if I think it's helpful or not. I don't know, because I'm the one doing it. So
Right.
I need that outside perspective. So that is really important to me. Yeah, I love the feedback from people. That's what like drives me to keep going and keep designing. Especially when, people have all these fun ideas and they don't know how to like put it together. Like I don't take like I'll take pattern requests, but I won't like design a specific thing for one person. So like the coffin design that I just came out with, that was requested by several different people. And of course they didn't say I want it to look exactly like this, but the idea of like, please make a coffin pattern, like I don't think I would have done on my own unless somebody asked for it, because I really wasn't sure what the need for a coffin pattern would be, if like, how many people want this?
Right, right. And that's what I think is the best thing about engagement with your, with people that follow you and everything, is it's social media, so it's supposed to be social, and it's not all numbers. It's really the connections
Oh,
that
I hate
we're
the
able.
numbers. I can't look at the numbers. It makes me sick.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I can't do the
yeah,
numbers.
no,
Ugh. And
no.
I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, yay, I hit this number." And I'm like, but if you look at it from the outside of like, a viewer like me, that doesn't mean anything, because
Right.
I'm one person.
Yeah,
So even if I have a follower of one, that one person matters more than like, you only have
exactly.
10,000. Like, it doesn't matter. We're all single people though.
Yeah.
So the numbers, I don't like playing the numbers game of like, oh, I just got to get to 30,000. And I don't want to look, because every now and then it goes down and I'm like, no, what did I do?
Yeah, was it because I said
Oh,
that? Oh,
for a while, for a really long time. And I know this is probably just in my head, but for a long time, every time I would post a picture that had my face in it, my viewer count, my likes would go down and I would lose followers. It's like, they don't like me. So I like stopped for a long time. I was just taking pictures of like just what I was crocheting and I wasn't showing my face. I'm like,
yeah.
am I scaring people off? I don't know.
See, and you know what? See, then there's the opposite way. Like, my numbers go down when I don't show my face, and,
Huh.
and then I'm like, God, my crocheting just sucks. And then that makes
I
me
hate the
sad.
numbers. We need to like I wish the numbers weren't there. I don't want to
Yeah,
know. I don't want to know.
me either. Just don't
Because
even
it
want
just
to
like
say it.
it makes you feel like there's something wrong when sometimes it's just sometimes people just stop following you because they're like not into crocheting anymore,
Yeah,
or like, started getting into something else or whatever. Like it's not always like you're terrible. Like it's not always like that. But when you see it and you start making connections like, oh, it's because my face was on camera. Oh, terrible.
yeah,
Make the
that's
numbers go away.
right, right. It's too easy to take things personally sometimes, I think, which
I know.
it those
We all
numbers.
do that though. We're human. Ugh.
Yeah, we can't help it. Sometimes it is good to get that little dopamine hit of, wow, they really
Yeah.
like that. I got 1,000 subscribers yesterday. I
Oh,
would never have, but uh,
yeah. No, me neither.
what is the best way for your fans to stay updated with your latest projects?
Probably on Instagram, but I also have a newsletter that you can sign up for on my website, and that will notify you when a new pattern comes out or a new video comes out or I'm having a sale or things like that. So because Instagram likes to bury my posts sometimes, and even like longtime followers are like, I haven't seen you in ages, where have you been? I'm like, I've been right here. What is Instagram doing? And it's like, I don't have any control. We don't have any control over things like that. So really, like, the best way, if you don't want to miss out on anything, especially like sales, the best thing would be to go to my website and sign up for the newsletter, and then hopefully it won't go to your spam folder.
Right.
There's that too. Oh
yeah. So everybody listen who's watching, all that info is going to be down there.
There you go.
In the description, and make sure that when you sign up for Alexis's email, that you do not accidentally get it in the spam folder. Check that.
Yeah.
Okay. And any collaborations or events that we should look out for?
I think the only thing I have going on right now is I am going to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, or Rhinebeck. I've never been there before, but like ever since I started getting into the whole crochet world and crochet community, everyone's like, that is the place to be. My first ever yarn festival was like a few months ago out here in the middle of nowhere in Maine, and it was so fun. So to be able to go to like an actual, like, really big one is going to be exciting. So I'll actually be doing a book signing there. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to meet a bunch of people too, because I never get to meet anyone being online.
Yeah, I think a book signing would be super fun.
Yeah, and weird. I don't know why anyone would want me to sign a book, but let's do it.
Yeah. Well, because it's your book and it's awesome and all that. But especially there, I bet you'll do really well. You'll have a huge crowd there.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I
don't know what to expect at all.
Yeah.
It's so new to me. I'm bringing my mom and my sister for emotional support because I'm not good around people.
That is wonderful. Whenever I think of a festival like that, I've never been to one, but I think that my favorite part would be the sheep.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're so cute. Oh, they're so adorable.
They are.
And like the one that I went to, they had a whole bunch of those big Angora rabbits, and like their face is like this small, and it's just fur. They're amazing.
I want one of those rabbits.
Oh man, they're so I melt with animals like that.
Yeah, they're cute. We're down to almost the very end. I have a quick fire round.
Okay.
Just, some quick stuff. Easy questions, kind of cleanse the palate. Coffee or tea?
Tea, 100%, all day, every day.
All right. Any special kind?
Earl Grey.
Earl Grey. Okay, wonderful. Sweet or salty snacks?
I want to say salty, but then when you say snacks, I like gummy bears are my favorite thing in the whole world. So I don't know. It's a toss up between the two.
Gummy bears are good. I like M&Ms. Okay.
My mom's favorite. My mom's favorite is M&Ms.
Yeah. Morning crochet or late night crochet?
Please, all day, like from like 6 a.m. till 1 o'clock in the morning. There's no crochet time. It's all the time.
It's just a straight stream.
Yeah. Whenever like I'm breathing, I'm crocheting.
Right.
This is the longest I haven't had a hook in my hand since I moved.
I know. I'm starting to feel a little fidgety. Like,
right?
Where's my yarn and hook? Okay, one project at a time or multiple webs?
Both. Like I'll have a few that I've started just for the sake of having things to post on social media, but I personally like finishing a full project from like, start to finish, working on one. But I feel like it would get boring if I just showed the same thing in every step of the way, like on Instagram and Facebook. So I do have, like, I'll start one and then I'll put it in a corner just so I can take a picture of it and post it and go, I'm working on this at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like doing one at a time. But I also, and I know I'm not alone on this, I hate finishing a project. That empty feeling of like, now what? Oh, what am I supposed to do now? Like, oh, yeah, I don't like that. So no, and I try to like overlap them. So I'll begin one before I like finish one. That feels better.
I totally relate with that. And what's the one thing you wish everybody knew about crochet?
It's such a stress reliever. Like it's saved me from so much, like especially like the negative thoughts in my own head. I feel like crocheting makes it hard to focus on things like that when you're busy like counting and focusing on stitches, and then it's just it takes your mind away from like the negative things that, you know, because sometimes we'll have thoughts that just keep going on and on and on in our head, and it's not healthy for us. And you know, to have something like crochet that kind of takes that away and alleviates some of that pain, that's why I crochet every single day. It's like it's my medicine. And so that's why I think it's funny when crocheting has that the idea of that, like crochet is for grandmas. It's like, well, that's why grandmas are sweet and kind and loving and caring. It's because they're working out all their frustrations in their stitches, like the way I do.
Yeah, I love that.
They know exactly how to handle stress, you know? So
exactly. Yeah, it's just like a self-soothing, just the act. The physical act of just this.
It doesn't even really matter what you're crocheting, just taking the time to, you're almost like activating a different part of your brain that it's the best addiction I've ever had, really.
I think we got to the last questions. So everybody, I'm going to put all of your links down below, down in the description. And also, your new book is available. Where is your new book available?
I want to say everywhere, but I know it's a little easier to have. I have a list on my website of like the popular common places to find it, like Amazon, Barnes and Noble. There's a whole list of different places. But you could also probably search for it and find it, because now it is out now, so it should be a little bit easier to find. I know a lot of people are having trouble finding it at Barnes and Noble, but there are some scattered across the US, which is so exciting when I get a message from someone like, I found it on the shelf. I was like, yes.
That's exciting.
I know. Like, it is out there. That's so great. Because I didn't know how much it really was going to be distributed, but if you look, it's sometimes it's on shelves. I also heard a few libraries were going to stock it too. Wow. Yeah, that's exciting. So even if you like can't afford the book, maybe like ask your local librarian if they could get a copy.
I'm super excited to get mine in the mail.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you end up making. I love seeing what people make out of just any of the patterns. It's so fun.
Thank you so much. So much for coming on today. I appreciate it. And I had so much fun talking with you.
Yeah, I did too. I'm like super thrilled that you pulled me out of my shell, and that we actually did a video. This is the first video interview, so I hope it went okay.
This is your first?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've done like magazine interviews where they'll like email me questions and I'll like, you know, have a week to think about it and then reply back. But this is like, you put me on the spot a few times. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was hoping, because I tend to like just.
It's good though. I need that.
I know it's good. But I try not to be too surprising.
No, it's all good. You did good.
Okay, awesome.
Not terrifying.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got this awesome, amazing book. that we've been talking about the whole video, and now, ta-da!
You want to pass it on to me? I want to do a giveaway. So here's my book. I'm going to sign this, and I would like to give away a signed copy to one of your viewers. And what are they going to say in the comments? Halloween is every day, or every day is Halloween. If you say that in the comments, then you will be entered to win one. How about that?
That sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. So everybody needs to put in every day is Halloween.
Yeah, sounds good.
This giveaway is going to be open to everyone. So it doesn't matter if you're in the US or overseas. I'll make the announcement of the winner on in the YouTube community tab. If you are the lucky winner, just email me and we'll get a hold of you to get your address so that Alexis can send you the book.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds good. Alrighty, you guys. Now that we know everything about Sixel Design and where we can go grab her book, and also what you can put in the comments to win a signed copy of this book, we are going to head out, start the day. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. You all have a wonderful day, and be sure to head over to Instagram and check out all of her pictures and all her designs if you haven't yet. Totally inspiring. Totally wonderful work. Okay, you guys, have a wonderful day.